So you guys should see the big screen now saying, how do we make more money? I'm sure this is not anything that most people are interested in, but I thought I would start here just in case somebody doesn't have enough yet. So yeah, look, a couple of things that I want to talk about. And actually, I'm going to start my slideshow with the first slide because that seemed like a good idea. All right. These are the three burning questions all of you were getting ready to ask me if you knew you were about to ask me this. And so I'm just going to preempt them and not make you ask me. Things that we're going to worry about. And I promise you, there's a couple things I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say new normal other than in this sentence. And I'm not going to say, recovery or look, I want to talk about reality. We know where we are with things. There are places all over the country that are, some places are doing great. Some places are, some places are shutting back down. So none of the fundamentals behind all of that change, though, right? We still have kind of an agenda, if we will, of how do we make more money, regardless of what's going on around us? How do we manage our costs so that we can keep more of that money we make? And how do we do all that stuff efficiently so that we don't look like me and pull all my hair out trying to get it all done? So for those of you who weren't in the other session, my name is Rick Smith. I've been with CenterEdge for almost 9 years now. Gosh, every time I turn around, it's like another child leaving the house and another year at CenterEdge. It's kind of a cycle. But so I started off, I've been here with the operations side. We used to wear lots of hats with installations and trainings and support and all those sorts of things. I spent some time over in development, kind of like prison, and then came back to the real world where I got to talk to people again. So again, my background with the company and in the industry is more on the operations side, less on the sales side, as you can tell from my presentations. But feel free to ask questions as we're going through this. Interrupt me, raise your hand, and like Sherry said, if you want to drop something in the chat, if you don't want to put your picture up on the screen and everything, then Sherry can field those as well. But let's talk about how we make more money. And there's a few kind of pieces to that puzzle, but the biggest thing is, look, you want to make it easy for people to spend their money with you, right? I don't want to put up barriers that make it harder for people to give me more of their cash. All right, so giving people the experience of on-site, self-service is a big thing now, right? There's this idea that I want to be touchless and not, touch anything except for the kiosk that the last 40 people also just touched. So I'm not sure exactly how all of those pieces play together, but the impression within the consumer base, within the customer base, is there's something about not being in front of a person that makes them feel safer. So being able to do self-service, purchasing things online, and then by the mobile device, right? That's even better because that's only me touching it. But what am I selling? Right, and it's easy enough to just put up my prices and say, okay, here's a ticket, here's a pizza, here's an event. Where you start to get more power and more bang for your buck, so to speak, is when you're able to put those things together in packages, in putting things together with pricing structures that, rather than discounting and saying, well, I'll give you $10 off an admission ticket, rather I'm going to package that. I'm saying I'm going to give you an admission ticket and I'm going to include a drink and a slice of pizza, right, for maybe even $1 more. So I'm going to try to get people to spend more money with me, not less, and I'm going to do that by giving them more value. All right, and then you can roll in things like promotions and passes. Memberships, recurring billing is a big thing that's starting to get more and more popular in the FEC world. They've been doing it at the gyms forever. But if I can get people to pay me $20 a month for the pleasure of coming and visiting me when they want to, and I'm giving them some sort of a benefit for doing that, that's turning into a pretty significant way of making additional revenue and keeping people stickier to your brand, to your location, right? Next, you're talking about special events. We know that's harder right now, but you're still going to have places that want to have get-togethers. You've got companies that want to figure out how to entertain and do things for their employees that now they can't have the big meeting in the employee lunchroom, so they're trying to find unique ways. And family entertainment centers can really excel at doing those sorts of things and being proactive and making sure you're able to take your payments and invoice people and all the back-end stuff for that. And then lastly, we talked a little bit about this in the session, how you market, and the data that you're collecting. So putting together a membership, putting together using passes or loyalty programs so that you are collecting data to understand your customers, right? If you're a bigger location where you've got a lot of people coming in and out, you're not going to know everybody's first name, just like Cheers. But you want that feeling, and we want that feeling when we go to a place. I like to feel like people know me, or I'm special. I've got my VIP card, right? So I get special perks and privileges because I'm really important. But the data that you're collecting on the back end for how people are utilizing your facility, what they're purchasing, how often are they purchasing it, it really makes it possible for you to market to them intelligently. And instead of spending a bunch of money sending out generic blasts of emails and hoping that some people will come in, I know that I can send Sherry a very targeted thing that says, hey, we're going to have open face burrito Friday. I know you like open face burritos because you bought 20 of them in the last 2 weeks. So come on in and get one this Friday. And I don't even have to give her a discount. I just have to let her know they're coming.
That's right.
Cool. All right. So that's how we get more money in. And so I always ask the question, who knows the difference between profit and revenue? Revenue is how much you make. And I've been in places that have seen revenue increases significantly, and yet they're not keeping anything else in the pocket, right? They're even losing money. So profit is how much of that revenue are you getting to keep? And managing your costs is a huge factor in that, right? So a few of the things that having an integrated system is going to allow you to do, and what you guys are thinking about if you don't have a facility yet, or if you're opening something new, or you don't have a system that's doing all these things, is how is your point of sale, how is your overall facility system working together to help you manage the money that you are bringing in, all the revenue. Do I know how my guests are spending? We talked about that. But also, let's talk about labor. CenterEdge, for example, allows you to track time clock, employee scheduling, all those sorts of things in one system. So whether you're using that or whether you're doing it yourself, you still need to understand, how much money am I making for every dollar I'm spending in labor? What is my attendance doing, right? Being able to look at historical data, compare year over year, compare month over month, forecasting out so that I know, okay, typically on this Monday of the year, the Monday before Thanksgiving, I see a spike of 30%. And so I'm going to make sure I'm staffing for that. Right? These are ways you manage, or I know, okay, it's Thanksgiving week. No one's going to come out and eat because they're all going to be stuffed. So I'm going to reduce my, and I can look at that historically at what my facility has actually done, right? Cash management is huge. We all hire folks that we all believe are awesome and super high integrity people who would never steal from us. And we find out we've got lots of silent partners. So you need to have a system that's going to help you identify that. Make sure your cash is safe, and also make sure that you're not just encouraging people who would ordinarily be honest to help themselves because it's so simple, because no one's counting, right? If that makes sense. And in the same way, you hire these folks thinking they're going to be fantastic. Well, how do you know they're performing? Having a system that kind of gives you guidance helps you to understand, people clocking in late, showing up, or clocking in early and milking the clock, or how are folks doing? How many times did Johnny get gratuities in his parties last week, and why is he getting twice as much gratuities as everybody else? Maybe I need to take the things that he's doing well, because he's obviously making my party parents happy, and I'm going to get him to train some of my other staff. So thinking outside the box, your point of sale system is a lot more than just counting how many dollars came in and counting how many widgets you sold, right? You can really utilize the data you're collecting to make everything in your facility run better. But you can also still count things that you sold, and that's important too, right? Inventory control. How do I know what's walking away? Being able to do orders on a timely manner, know when I'm out of something or when I'm getting low on things, so I need to reorder. All those pieces come together, because I can't be profitable if I'm letting all my steaks walk out the door for free because the kids have figured out that steaks are tasty and I can just take them home. Or I can't sell things because I forgot to order them, kind of an idea. So all of those pieces sort of tie together to help you manage that revenue that you're bringing in and actually be able to put more of it in your own bank account, which I think is the goal. And then doing that all efficiently. Like I said, you want a system, you can do all this, and this was one of the questions in the panel. Why do I need a system to do this? I can do it all by myself. Okay, yes, you can, and you won't do anything else. and your system will be capped at the level that you're able to wear all of those hats, right? And rather than freeing it up and freeing yourself up to take your business to the next level, you're spending all of your time in Excel spreadsheets and trying to figure out, who took the stakes. So having a single system that gives you one source of truth for everything that's going on facility-wide, that's kind of where we come in and what we do. And it just frees you up to do the other things that you want to do. So these are just kind of a short list of some of the pieces and parts that our system incorporates. Happy to talk about any of these in particular or all of them together. And any other questions you guys might have, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to our website. There's a button, I think, somewhere in this really cool hop-in thing that we're doing that has a place for you to test your own point of sale and see how you're doing. And that is
yes.
Awesome.
Rick, we do have a question. Questions. Thank you for that. And if anybody would like a copy of this presentation, feel free to message me and your email, and I'll be happy to send it over. I know some of it was a little smaller than I had anticipated when I wrote it, so when I put it together. And then Mike asked, do you guys feel the membership trend is a stronger piece than a rewards program these days?
So I don't know that I would say that the membership trend is stronger. I would say that is something that you should have put together, right? And so a lot of people look at memberships and rewards as two distinct entities. And my position on this is they shouldn't be. I should use my rewards to enhance my memberships, and I should use my memberships to monetize my rewards. So what do I mean by that? So I can have a reward program that's free, right? You come into the facility and you're automatically enrolled in my bottom tier. And think of it like those who play, video games on their phones. You've got the folks who you can grind away and grind away. So I might get points for every dollar I spend, and eventually I'll get up to these different tier levels, and I'm still collecting data, and it's still a good program. But I want to get there faster, so I can pay to win, right? And so maybe my memberships also incorporate a different tier structure or a different level of loyalty. So whereas my base loyalty, I'm a bronze member and I get a couple of Gugas, I get a couple of points for every dollar I spend, whatever. If I buy the membership, now I get automatically, diamond level or VIP. I get a special black card. If you've ever flown Delta, right? If you're a medallion member, you get to walk on the blue carpet on this side rather than the ugly gray carpet on that side, right? Same kind of an idea. It's nothing. It costs them nothing to do that. But what you're doing is you're making your customer feel special, right? You're encouraging them. And now if you tie that with a membership, not only am I monetizing my reward program directly rather than just indirectly through understanding their sales better, I'm getting them to pay me for the benefit of getting a better reward program. And then my reward programs are also enhancing my membership. So instead of having a membership that suggests, okay, you can be a member, pay me $20 a month, and I'll let you have 2 free admissions, I can be, different levels of membership where if you want to be a super VIP member, you get the velvet rope treatment, you get special access to events that only people at this membership level can be at, etc. So
there's so many possibilities.
And you're welcome, Mike. Only 12 hours of work tells me you're not doing it right because it should be at least 48. But Johnny Lofton is the expert in all those things, and he will actually do it for you at your facility for no cost. Just call him and tell him I said that.
I'll give you his cell phone.
Awesome. Anybody else have any other questions, comments, concerns, conundrums? I'm running out of C words. Help me out, guys. Awesome. Okay. Well, I think what I'm supposed to do, Sherry, is start this thing over.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to switch. So if you have, let's see.
Oh, there's a question. Sure. How do different payment platforms integrate with your software? Jarrett, that's a great question. So we've always been somewhat agnostic as far as people going out and getting whichever merchant processing works best for them. We directly integrate with WorldPay. We do have our own CenterEdge payments system that is internal. We don't require you to use it, but there's usually some pretty good reasons to from a pricing standpoint. But you can also use any of the major providers, First Data, TSYS, some of these guys. There's differing levels of functionality with some of them, mostly revolving around tokenization and how credit cards can be stored securely and PCI compliant. But yeah, other than that, there's a number of platforms we can work with. Great question. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. And I guess we'll give it a minute or two and let folks transition over to check out the other showcases, which won't be nearly as entertaining, but there's a lot of good information. So hope you guys enjoy it. What's it got? When systems do not integrate easily, what's the typical? Typically it's it may just be from an API standpoint, right? There's lots of credit card companies out there who want you to integrate, but there's a lot of expense in creating new integrations. There's PCI compliance costs. There's making sure that you have all the different pin pads at work, and there's a lot of hurdles and roadblocks that get put up into merchant providers, if you will, to software that has to be overcome. So that's why you don't see just anybody and everybody out there being able to take any credit card, if that makes sense. Great question. Awesome. Okay. Well, guys, thanks so much. And I'm going to...
Please go ahead and take our Test Your POS. There's a checklist that you can download to see if what you're using, or if you're shopping around for a solution, definitely take that checklist with you and ask all the right questions so that you'll know, whether or not what you're considering is going to help you now and in the years to come.
I think flipping through all those screens so quickly was giving Johnny a seizure. He was looking like... Sorry, guys. Awesome.
Thank you,
all right,
guys.
We'll give it a couple more seconds. Oh, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Julie.
Thanks for joining.
Sure. I'll be in touch.
Perfect.
Awesome. We will be here.
All right. Bye.
Bye now.
Bye now. Alrighty. And for folks, is there anyone else who's just joined, or I'm not sure when the other, because there's no real timing of when these things started to stop from the other places, so I don't want to repeat myself necessarily.
I think Nikisha joined at the tail end. I think that Greg's been in for a while, right, Greg? Tracy, I think Tracy heard most of it.
Okay.
Oh.
And Ann already knows all of it. So
Ann knows everything about everything.
She does.
Awesome. Well, guys, we're a smaller group this time. Why don't we all we can share a couple more faces, and if you want to jump in.
Yeah, please.
Just go ahead and ask to be seen, because we would love to see you. More of you, less of me.
They're not listening to you.
That's okay.
How do we make them? I don't know. This is confusing. Oh, no, we made people leave instead. That's the opposite. Oh, awesome. All right. And I guess, so I'll ask this just of the group, who is still here already has a facility versus, so just type in the chat if you have a facility already, or if you're looking at opening a facility, kind of where you are in the overall process. Is Mike coming in, or is he just hanging out back there?
I approved him.
He was teasing. Yeah. He was teasing you. Melanie and Nikisha, welcome. So if you guys are seeing the chat on the side, I'm not sure how many folks are using that or not. Like I said, just trying to find out roughly, who's actually got a facility that's open, who maybe have specific questions or looking for something specific.
Melanie, I thought I recognized you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got a small facility that's open, right? You have a couple, like 2 or 3 games in there and sell a few things. Yeah, up in Buford, that's gonna be awesome.
That's awesome.
Tracy's got 2 facilities open, the first one in April. Okay, very cool. Very, very cool. All right. So, Sherry, I mean, I can walk through some of these again. I'll kind of skip through, the burning questions part. I just want to talk a little bit about, for the folks who are here who didn't hear the last bits, kind of how are we positioning ourselves to do kind of the basic 3, the 3 things that really haven't changed. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world around us. It doesn't matter whether other than fully being closed, there's still kind of three questions that every business, every FEC sort of grapples with, right? It's how do we make more money? How do we manage the money that we're making? And then how do we do it all more efficiently and doing it in a way that doesn't drive us absolutely crazy and lets us actually focus on the things we enjoy, right? Most of us probably got into the FEC world not because we wanted to be accountants or to be point of sale experts or technical folks. We got into this world because we like to have fun with people and we want to make sure that they're all enjoying themselves, and we have that kind of a passion. So again, my name is Rick Smith. For those who don't know, I've been with CenterEdge since there were just a few of us. I've worn most of the hats in the company. Sales being one of the newer ones and one of the ones that's least in my personal wheelhouse. So when I'm talking you through these things, I would much rather you ask me technical questions than for me to give you sales jargony things. But if you don't ask me questions, I'm going to be forced to read through PowerPoints with you. So that being said, again, feel free to drop questions in the chat. We'd love for you guys to show your faces and show your cameras. I'm not sure what the folks at Amusement 360 are doing with all the videos they're recording. I'm sure there's nothing nefarious. You'd probably be all right. And just drop in at any time, stop me at any time if you want to ask something more specific. So how do we make more money? Really, there's four things I want to kind of cover. Making the experience easy for your customers, right? The thing is, I want to kind of grease the skids. I want to make sure that it's easy for people to give me their money. I'm not putting any barriers in their way. So I want to be able to take their money on site, obviously, right? They're in the facility. They want to spend more money with upsells and all those. Self-service has been a big deal. We've talked a lot about self-service recently, especially with all that's going on in the world. People like to touch a kiosk instead of talking to a person for whatever crazy reason. Obviously, selling online is huge. You want to be able to market to people even when your doors aren't open, right? And so any money that I can be making 24/7 while the rest of my staff is sleeping, that's fantastic. And then by mobile device, this is becoming more and more prevalent, especially in our world of ticketing and those sorts of things too. So people being able to buy tickets right there on their phone because they come into your facility and there's a line. I don't want to wait in line. I want to buy my tickets here and just skip the line, right? Those kinds of ideas. And then putting all of those things together. So, okay, I'm going to make it easy for you to spend your money. So what are you going to spend it on? And I can be boring and generic and just say, well, here's a pizza, here's a soft drink, and then add them up and that's your price. Or I can encourage people to spend more money with me by putting things together in packages. And creating compelling packages is a much better way of increasing the money the revenue that you're getting than trying to do discounting and trying to, you're never going to discount your way really to better profitability. It's hard, right? I would much rather give people a value add, make them feel like they're getting more for their dollar rather than cheapening the offerings that I'm giving them, right? And then you wrap in things. Okay, future FEC awesome. Sorry that the video doesn't work. So looking at passes, memberships, recurring billing, ways of getting people to pay you money even when they're not in your facility, right? Or pay you money in advance for visits they're going to make in the future. All of those are done through how you package your items, and having a software that allows you to put all those things together stop distracting me, Sherry. I'm going to cover the chat. She's saying nice things about me and it's making me weird. So, all right, special events. How do you sell your events? How do you tie your events to your online capacity and your in-house capacities? How do I make sure that I'm not putting too many people in the park as we're dealing with all the restrictions that are going on around us, right? How do I make sure that I know who was in the park, contact tracing, and all these different things that have suddenly become part of our vocabulary over the last several months. So having one system that ties all these pieces together, creating packaging, sell it online, do my special events, make sure I don't have two party moms who are showing up for the blue room at 2 o'clock, all those sorts of things, and then making sure they're all being invoiced properly and taking payments. That, and then again, putting it all together with the marketing. So understanding my customers, how do they spend money with me? What do they buy? What do they like? What do they not like? Helps me make better decisions on what to purchase, new games to purchase, new attractions to bring in, how attractive are they? And then how do I market to these people in a way that shows I truly know them, right? If I'm going to send a marketing email to Sherry, I'm not going to send her something about the food that she never buys, right? She doesn't like the double pepperoni pizza, maybe, but she would like go all out with the open face burrito, right? So if I know that about her, I can market to her more efficiently, bring her in the facility more often, and get more of her money because she's got lots of it to spend. Don't tell her I said that. All right, so the other side of that equation is how do we manage our costs? It's great to pump up our revenue, but we spend a whole bunch of money pumping up our revenue and don't get to keep any of it. That doesn't help our bottom line, doesn't help our bank accounts, right? So understanding how people are using your facility, what we talked about guest spending, but I want to layer in there things like labor percentages, right? Having a system that ties together your point of sale with your time and attendance and your scheduling gives you the ability to see a holistic picture of your business, right? And not only do I know how much money is coming in, I know how much money is going out, and I can look at what's happened year to year, month to month, and make educated decisions about how many people do I put on staff next Monday before Thanksgiving, for example, those sorts of things. So I'm tying that together with the ability to manage my cash. I don't want to encourage my kids to become silent partners and help themselves to my drawers. So I want to be able to see clear, efficient cash handling, right? I also don't want to lock it down so much that I can't function, right? So there's a good balance in a good, well-balanced system that allows you to see everything that's going in, to account for every dollar that's going through your system, and yet make it still smooth and easy for your staff to use it. Right? And was that someone that had a question or? No. Okay. Cool. Managing performance. So along with cash management of your staff, you've spent a lot of time, effort, and money hiring people, educating them, training them up, coaching them to be really good at what they do. How do you know that they're doing it well, right? So again, going back to that business intelligence, I can start seeing things like I've got Sherry and Johnny who are both doing parties for me. Johnny is got a third of the gratuities that Sherry does. So what's Sherry doing? Why is Sherry making my guests happier than Johnny is? I might pull her out and have her train some of the other people, right? So I can start to see, I can look for performance, and I can see it across the board. I can see which of my staff sells the most at a given point of sale. So if I want to run contests, hey, who's going to upsell the most pepperoni pizzas, whatever, right? Those sorts of things that build camaraderie, they build kind of that competition thing, but you're also able to see it, reward it, and coach it without driving yourself crazy trying to manage it. And then, the obvious inventory control, right? It doesn't make sense for me to sell pizzas for $1.95 if they cost me $2.50 to actually purchase them. I will not make that up in volume, I promise. So I need to understand, what do I need to order when? Are things going bad? Are things walking away? All of those sorts of pieces kind of come together. So having a kind of a full inventory management, especially, by the way, if you're doing food and beverage, one that can do recipes. So when I sell a pizza, rather than just taking a pizza out of inventory, I'm taking a ball of dough and a certain amount of sauce and cheese and pepperoni out of my inventory for every pizza I sell. So now I can look and see, okay, one, I'm managing all of those ingredients to make sure I have them all on hand, and I know what my pricing are, I know what my cost of goods sold is, but I also understand if I've got discrepancies, right? If I've got people who are being heavy-handed with the cheese, it'll start showing up in those reports, right? Because I'm selling more cheese. I'm out of more cheese than I'm actually selling, kinds of ideas, if that makes sense. So all of those things kind of roll together to make sure you're managing your profitability efficiently. And speaking of efficiently, how do you tie it all together? Well, it's CenterEdge, it's clear, it's right there in the middle of the graphic. So I don't know what else to, no, I'm kidding. You want a system that actually pulls all those pieces together for you as much as possible. No system out there is going to do absolutely everything. So what you want to look for is one that checks the most boxes for you, right? For today, and also be thinking about the future. What are you going to, where are your plans? What are you going to grow into, right? Something that starts off, if you're getting into a system that is maxing out to fulfill your current needs, and you decide you want to grow, you're going to outgrow that system. And what does that look like? So just trying to think about things from today and from a future perspective as well. It's important. And these are some of the things that we handle today. We're a little bit different than some of the other facility management softwares out there in that we're also operators. So we have 100,000 square foot FEC of our own. And everything you see on this list is pretty much born out of our own needs and our needs that have mirrored in a lot of our customers. So this is kind of who we are, what we do. If you have additional questions, you can always reach out to me. You can reach out to the info at CenterEdge. There's some great blog articles on there. Sherry writes all kinds of really cool stuff. We got a lot of folks who are following those. So yeah, reach out to us, connect with us, and then are there any questions that I can answer for you guys now?
Feel free to
anybody but Mike. Anyone else?
Drop any questions in the chat if you don't want to ask them out loud, or if you want to ask to join with your audio and video, we'd love to see you.
Hey, Rick, I'll throw a question out for you. We have a lot of clients that talk about adding additional point of sale terminals at different attractions throughout the facility. Do you guys think that's that's necessary or beneficial?
It depends on what you're trying to do with them, right? So you can spread some of them out within the facility and make it easier. Going back to that easy to spend your money, right? If I don't have to go hunt somebody down to give money to, that's a good thing. But it also can be overkill. So if you're, for example, if it's a laser tag facility that you just want to be able to sell, and let's say you're laser tag and you've also got a card system like an embed in the facility, right? There's also a world where you could just put card readers and let people use the privileges right off their card to coin up or to get access to some of those attractions without having to put a whole point of sale system in there. So I think the answer to that is really depends on what the specific needs are. I'm a big fan of having more places to take people's money, but every point of sale you put out there, you also have to staff, so you have to find that right balance.
Thank you.
That was a great question. That was a very specific question, Zane. Any other? Sherry, I'm not sure even what time it is and what time we're doing this sell.
We don't have any clocks.
It's 2:20 on the eastern side of the country.
Excellent. Okay.
So I think we've got about 5 minutes. So we'd love to just hear what you guys think, what you are interested in, what questions you have, what attractions you're looking at.
Otherwise, Johnny was going to sing a song for everyone. So Rob asked if there's any plan to integrate more CRM software for sales professionals. So I don't have anything that's particularly on a roadmap for a specific CRM. We do have more CRM functionality that we've been sort of building through when you're looking at things like loyalty and all that. But a lot of times when I get that question, it's really based upon my group sales, right? And being able to have tickler files and to reach out and be able to manage that side of things better. So I guess it's certainly something, Rob, that I'd be happy we could take that offline and talk about some specifics about what your needs might be. As everybody uses CRM a little bit differently. But yeah, right now there's not any particular CRM plans.
Yeah, some of the things that you can do is, so definitely get Rick's contact info there so that you guys can talk. But, thinking about making a plan for an event before it happens. And that's something that you can do in our event software, our Advantage Group software. You're able to say, okay, before an event, I want to have these conversations with customers. So you set them as milestones or automatic messages that goes out to them, the thank you that after the event, and then moving forward into, okay, next year, right? If I want to talk to them every year about a birthday or about a group event, next year, 60 days before the event would happen, I want another message to go out. And so then you can build in some automatic messaging to achieve some of what you're talking about, and automating that. Rick and I were talking about automation yesterday, even in our own sales, trying to figure out, okay, how can we touch this a lot less and still connect with our customers?
Exactly. And the last thing I'd talk about with that too is there is in our groups application, we have something called milestones, which allow you to set up and say, for a specific event, so let's say I've got a party that's booked for next Friday, and 3 days before that party, I want to make sure I've ordered the specialty cake, and 5 days before that, I've had to order the balloon arch, all those sorts of things. And then, 3 days after, I want to reach out with a thank you, and in 6 months, I want to reach out to that person and say, hey, or whatever those sorts of milestones are. You can build those into each event. And then you can have reporting that's pulled out, so your staff kind of knows, okay, here's a list of all the milestones, everything I have to do this week that are associated with all the events that we booked. So there is some of that. Like I say, it's just not something I wrap into a Salesforce integration. And as much as we can, we're trying to prevent folks from having to buy additional third-party systems to manage those other pieces. So, like I said, I'm happy to have a more in-depth conversation about what you guys are looking for specifically and see if that's something that can be wrapped into the system operationally, or if it's something else that we can just chat with the fine folks on our product team about.